Hi and welcome to the second edition of Aggressive Health Weekly. In continuing the theme from last week where we were talking about unwanted body fat and we target it from the standpoint of emotions, well, this week we're going to stay with that theme, but we're going to talk specifically about the emotion of love. Because I know if you had more love in your life, okay, you might think you've got enough. If you have more love in your life, there is less chance that you'll head towards those foods that can create an artificial high in your brain and create unwanted body fat. You will head less towards them and you'll have more towards engaging in activity that will cause more love in your life. Head towards pursuits and jobs, day-to-day activities that will cause more love in your life. People, places, things, everything that will cause more love in your life. Okay, remember, the whole aggressive health lifestyle is for you to feel as good as you can, as much as you can. And this session really is targeting the highest emotion that there is, and that is of love. But like I said, we're not just talking about people, we're talking about friends, we are talking about family, we're talking about pets, we're talking about activities that you engage in, we're talking about your job. You know, if you was to win the lottery, okay, this is why most people want to win the lottery, is so that basically they have that much money, that they have that much freedom, that they could do all the things that they would love, underlined, love to do. So, with that in mind, let's get to it. Okay, if we're going to talk about love, I want to talk about a natural amphetamine-like substance that occurs in your body, which has been coined the molecule of love. Now that substance is called phenylethylamine, okay? PEA, phenylethylamine. We'll call it PEA from now on. Now I want you to think about this. Think about the last time that you was head over heels in love with someone. Maybe you're still with that person now, but at the time when you met that person and you was addicted to each other and you were buzzing and, you know, to the point where you couldn't eat, you couldn't sleep, you just felt, you know, all you could think about was that person. At that moment in time, PEA levels in your bloodstream would have been skyrocketing. Okay, and it's been scientifically proven that the PEA levels in lovers is very, very high, but the PEA levels in depressed patients or depressed people is very, very low. Okay, now even some antidepressant medications are designed to boost PEA levels. So the person who is depressed brings their PEA levels back up, they feel a bit more emotional control, and they can continue with their life. Okay. But the other thing as well to note is that when you're engaged in an activity that you love, whether it's reading a fascinating book, or whether it's painting or sculpting, or engaging in an activity that you love, even something like a video game or a sport that you love, PEA levels rise as well. Because PEA is synonymous with that time and that place, where the world just seems to, time just seems to stand still, and everything around you just seems to evaporate into the background, and you're left focused exclusively on what's right in front of you right now. That's PEA at work. Now, isn't it interesting as well that some diet pills are designed to boost PEA levels so that effectively you get so engaged in what you're doing, you kind of forget about food and you forget about eating. And for some people who just seem to eat for the sake of eating and get into that habit, that's why in those cases they may be, you know, there may be some use to them. But why would you want to go for a pill with a ton of side effects when you can do it naturally? And we're going to come on to that. There's a neurotransmitter in your brain, in your body, that's associated with the feeling of joy. It's called norepinephrine. Now PEA levels increase norepinephrine transmission. So much so that if an animal is implanted in an area, or has an implant in an area of the brain concentrated in norepinephrine, and has access to a pedal that it can push to stimulate that area of the brain, it will sit there and it will hammer that pedal away. It will just keep hammering on that pedal. It will forget food, it will forget water, and it will keep hammering that pedal, experience that consistent joy until it's absolutely exhausted. That's how powerful it is. PEA increases norepinephrine transmission. Okay, so PEA, better known as the molecule of love, is the romantic in you. Yeah, when you're dancing on air, when you're singing out loud, when you're euphorically in love, PEA is probably at work. So the question becomes, how do you increase levels of PEA in your body naturally? Well, here's the kicker. What did we talk about last week? E3 Live, blue-green algae, is rich in PEA. That's why last week when I talked about the woman who was depressed for 27 years, how I said if it was me in that situation, then that's what I would be heading towards. And when I told you about, my low point of 2007 when I split up with someone that I was head over heels with, again, I went straight to E3 Live, simply because I knew that PEA levels were probably spinning in the opposite direction, because I felt that love-sick feeling, which again is synonymous with a drop in PEA. So like I said last week, if there's one thing I hate, it's feeling shit. So straight in there with the E3 Live to boost levels. And the other thing, this is the obvious one, what do most people, especially women, turn to when they're feeling on an emotional low? Come on, say it. I know that you know the answers to this. Chocolate. That's right, but the thing with chocolate that you buy from the supermarket shelves is full of sugar, which will completely mess you up. It's full of dairy, which again, for most people, it will mess you up. But the actual cacao bean, the chocolate bean, is another great source of PEA. So the two foods that you need to focus on is raw chocolate, and if you go to aggressivehealthshop.co.uk and if you read about the raw cacao powder, which I'm going to show you how I use in a minute, that's one thing to boost levels. The E3 Live, which you can add in ice cube form to juices, that's another level. You put those into your diet, raise your PEA levels, it's likely that you're going to start to feel fantastic. And this is what I always say to people, start with yourself first and let everybody else feed off of your vibe. If you remember going back to the unwanted body fat, you see how we target it from these different angles. This week we're talking about the emotion of love, creating more love in your life, heading your intention towards, this is what I want you to think about. I want you to think about heading towards doing more of what you love. Okay, so here we are. First and foremost, the most important thing that we'll be discussing, this is your cacao powder. Into the blender it goes. This is what we do in the morning, this is what I do in the morning. It's either a smoothie or a juice, okay? A little bit of aggressive greens, for reasons we'll no doubt discuss at a later date. But also, a few goji berries. And then, here we've got some Greek basil. So basically, looks like it's kind of on its way out. Take the whole lot, in it goes. And then lastly, wait there. So this is your E3 Live, right? This is frozen solid, okay? So what I've done, I've defrosted some and then refroze it in ice cube bags. So we'll cover that in a second. But basically what I was going over there for is to get the blueberries. So let's think about this, right? Greens. I go into greens in incredible detail in the book. One of the things greens are rich in is magnesium. One of the things I haven't mentioned is that raw cacao is rich in magnesium. Magnesium can be kind of thought of as a morning mineral. Gets you going in the morning. So it's the morning right now. We've got the greens, we've got the cacao. Cacao very rich in antioxidants as well. Blueberries, rich in antioxidants. What else have we got in there? Greens, aggressive greens, okay, for minerals, nutrients and that extra green wow factor. So, some filtered water from the wellness carafe. In it goes. Check this out. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Now, the camera cut out. What I didn't show you was when I ripped a couple of ice cubes, like so, in an overdose today, out of the packet here. Whoa, easy tiger. There you go. So as you can see, yeah, you see it's all in ice cubes. So this is the E3 Live that's been defrosted for half an hour. You don't want to defrost it for 2. Defrost into the ice cube bag, straight back in the freezer. Alright, so even though I've drunk half of this already, I've got 4 cubes in there now of E3 Live. This is the PEA magic. You've got the cacao, you've got the E3 Live. Doesn't come any simpler than that. Do you think it tastes good? Tastes delicious, come on.